Be Informed, Be Awake Part 2. Please independently research the information provided. No person mentioned in the following has been charged with a crime to my knowledge unless specifically mentioned. The following content is not for children and does contain disturbing images. This image is a mural that was painted on the wall of Comet Ping Pong in 2010 by artist Arrington de Dioniso. And you'll notice that I have drawn arrows to the individuals that have antlers on their heads, and then they're also holding heads in their hands, which look like severed heads. I did read an article where they described these as floating heads, which of course sounds much nicer, but to me they just look like decapitated heads. This is a picture taken inside Comet Ping Pong in 2011, and this was posted by a user, Abby C. And you can see that the mural is in the right hand corner, and there's ping pong tables, and there's children in this room, so this is a play area also for children to be in. No age requirement. If you watched part 1 of Be Informed, Be Awake, you might recognize the name Sasha Lord Presents. She was in that in her Facebook post having L.A. Johnson's concert poster. This is her highlighting on October 2010, Arrington de Dioniso, and it is, you can see on the floor he's drawing out art for a wall or something, and you can see that it's quite phallic. There's some stuff going on. I couldn't get the picture much bigger. You can try and zoom in. It does look like there's antlers on the person in the center, naked people. Down here you've got some pretty phallic stuff. You can find this information in Britannica.com, read it in full and research it more. I'm just going to read a couple portions of it for you. There's 2 different scenarios of how Dionysus came to be, and I'm bringing this up because the artist in the previous slide is Arrington de Dionyso, or Dionyso. So Dionyso was the son of Zeus and Semele, a daughter of Cadmus, king of Thebes. Out of jealousy, Hera, the wife of Zeus, persuaded the pregnant Semele to prove her lover's divinity by requesting that he appear in his real person. Zeus complied, but his power was too great for the mortal Semele, who blasted with thunderbolts. However, Zeus saved his son by sewing him up in his thigh and keeping him there until he reached maturity, so that he was twice born. Dionysus was conveyed by the god Hermes to be brought up by the Bacchanti Maenads or Thyiads of Nyssa, a purely imaginary spot. As Dionysos apparently represented the sap juice or lifeblood element in nature, lavish festal orgia, which was orgies, in his honor were widely instituted. These Dionysia quickly won converts among women. Men, however, met them with hostility. In Orphic legend, based on the stories of Orpheus, Dionysos, under the name Zagreus, was the son of Zeus by his daughter Persephone, so incest. At the direction of Hera was Zeus's wife. The infant Zagreus, or Dionysos, was torn to pieces, cooked and eaten by the evil Titans, but his heart was saved by Athena, and he was resurrected by Zeus through Semele. Zeus struck the Titans with lightning, and they were consumed by fire. From their ashes came the first humans, who thus possessed both the evil nature of the Titans and the divine nature of gods. So Zeus and Persephone, his daughter, had the baby, and Hera had the baby killed. The followers of Dionysus included spirits of fertility such as satyrs and Selenia, which I believe satyrs are more goat and Selenia are more horse, and in his rituals the phallus, which is their erect penis, was prominent. Dionysus often took on a bestial shape and was associated with various animals. His personal attributes were, and you can read that and dig into it deeper. While they were under the god's inspiration, the Bacchanti were believed to possess occult powers, and the ability to charm snakes and suckle animals, as well as preternatural strength that enabled them to tear living victims to pieces before indulging in a ritual feast. The Bacchantes held the god by his titles, in the belief that he incarnated the sacrificial beast. After being dragged into one of 2016's strangest news stories over a mural he made 6 years ago, Arrington Day Dionyso took a public stand against far-right extremist mob censorship. Blair Murphy. This was an article in Hyperallergetic, which you can go in and read, basically discussing how Arrington was a victim of the P-Gate conspiracy theory. I want to note that this is also in the article, and it's a painting by Arrington Day Dionyso, and it is the Maenads at the Million Woman March, and they are holding what appears to be a decapitated head of then President Trump. And in Greek mythology, Maenads were the female followers of Dionysus, or Dionysos, and the most significant members of the Thyasus, the god's retinue. Their name literally translates as raving ones. A retinue is a group of advisors, assistants, or others that accompany an important person. And Arrington Day Dionyso does have a page for his art, and he's also a musician. Here are a couple of the pieces of art he has up on his website that you can go and look at. There's actually a lot more than what I provide in these slides. But again, you can see the antlers on the head. The serpents are common within the artwork. The human head inside the mouth of the serpent-looking creature. And again, another decapitated head. And again, in this art, you have basically an orgy and the serpent, which ties into the whole Greek mythology with Dionysos and the orgies and the drunkenness that they would participate in. I think I read an article that said probably about 5 times a month. So this painting, Lovers and Dragon. Apparently that's a dragon. I thought it was a large snake. But again, it looks like maybe perhaps an orgy is going on. There's a younger child that appears to be in the center. But one of the things that was noted a few slides back was that when the Maenads were in the cult, or the occult, that they had powers to suckle animals and be snake charmers. Although this is a dragon, so I don't know. It's an interesting painting. The title of this painting is Priapic Maenad and Witches Archival Print. And priapic basically means phallic and male sexual excitement. And as you can see, it looks like a female sitting there with a large erection going on. And again, they have the other females in the painting have horns and wings on the side of their heads. And a couple slides back, there was another, what appears to be a female with a phallic. This is the painting Ouroboros Echoes by Arrington. And an Ouroboros is a snake eating its own tail, so it can be symbolic of endless return. And you can see again that there's the snake and the serpent and naked people and phallic images. Judith beheads Holofernes, and this is the story of the Assyrian king Nebuchadnezzar sent his general Holofernes to besiege the Jewish city of Bethulia, and Judith, described as a beautiful young widow, seduces him in order to behead him. These are concert posters of Arrington Day Dionysos, and The Saxophone Kills the Fascists is a concert that was ongoing for him. And you can see the one in the middle, well, the two on the left and the middle have Trump featured in them, and the one in the middle actually says all ages. The one all the way to the right is Arrington at Comet Ping Pong, Comet Pizza, and Ping Pong. And again, the person has the horns or antlers out of the head and the floating or decapitated head. Here are more of the concert posters and advertisements by Arrington. And this one in the very left with Trump sitting inside of his head, decapitated head sitting in the mouth of the serpent. The page for that actually at the bottom did have it advertised for all ages. And as you can see, the one on the right, it says the saxophone kills fascists, and it's Trump with some horns stuck out of his head, and there's a genital face, something going on there. Arrington also does music, and you can look up his music. Here's one of his songs, Return to Satan Rock. And as you can see, it is like the all-seeing eye in the hand and some kind of monster head, perhaps some pendulum thing around the neck, and again, floating decapitated head. And this is featuring another one of his songs and the album picture for that, and it's Lovers and Dragons, and that was from 2014. And again, the ever so popular with most of his images of the decapitation. And as you can see, there's blood on these, so these aren't just floating heads as that one article is trying to put it off as. And here's another image from a song that he partnered with someone else to do, and this is from 2011. And as you can see, it's kind of the same imagery: woman, female with wings and antler head, and some kind of, I guess that's a female male with a mask, scary face, and what appears to be a child, and I'm not quite sure what they're doing to this child. And then there's another child standing behind the winged female with antlers on his head or her head. If you watched part 1 of this, you'll recall that there was a painting by Rhea Pratt, who is one of the personalities of Kim Noble, that paints pictures of child abuse and torture and sexual abuse. Unfortunately, because Kim Noble was a sexual abuse survivor, so Rhea Pratt, one of her personality, paints these. And in one of the images, there is a cage, a long cage that looks similar to the one up above here. And then also in that video, in one of the images, it looks like a pool table. So you can use this pool table as reference for dimensions to correlate that to the images from Rhea Pratt's art and note the coincidences. And this was a Miss Summer Camp posted on Comet Ping Pong on Instagram, and this is in one of the very first videos that my husband and I did that goes through all of the connections with Miss Summer Camp and some other people that had pictures like this posted on their Instagram. And you can see here Jimmy Comet, who is James Alefantis from Comet Ping Pong, comments sex on this one. So this is a PS on the P-Gate situation, and this you can research further, but this was an article from Metro Weekly 2015, James Alefantis, and a guy from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives had visited Comet Ping Pong. This is page 26 of the Metro Weekly. And it's disgusting. Then the Food Network called, and I thought, oh, this will be cool, we'll do it. I didn't really know the show even. His producer said, you need to close for a day. These are all the requirements. We filmed all day for 2 days, and as we're cooking, they're like, you make this? I said, yeah, what do you mean? And they say, this is the best restaurant we've ever done. Metro Weekly then asked, what was it they couldn't believe you had made, Alefantis? Well, maybe everything from scratch. Other restaurants, even good restaurants, will not roast their own peppers. You can just buy the roasted peppers in a can, or you can buy garlic oil. Some products you can get, and they're consistent and they're easy, but I didn't even know that existed actually until they said that. I was like, what do you mean? There's another way you can just buy these things? Because a lot of restaurants will open a can and put it on. Like our sauce, we harvest a whole crop of organic tomatoes, 10 tons of tomatoes every year, can them, and store them in the basement. have like a harvest party when it gets loaded in. So right here, James Alefantis is saying we store them in the basement. So part 2 of that is that in December of 2016, after the whole P-Gate situation, there was a blog article, bbc.com, discussing how they trawled Alefantis' Instagram feed for pictures of children and the modern art which lines his restaurant's walls, and dreamt up a pedophile sex ring involving prominent politicians and political donors. Soon there were protesters outside of Comet Ping Pong. Alefantis even invited some of them in. They filmed the encounter and put it on YouTube. And this is Alefantis saying they ignore basic truths. Alefantis tells BBC Trending, for instance, the conspiracy supposedly is run out of the restaurant's basement. We don't even have a basement. Wait, what? So did you lose the basement in 2015 that was there? Even if you did reconstruction, isn't it still considered a basement, or that you had a basement? Then he says, sometimes an innocent picture of a child in a basket is just an innocent picture of a child in a basket and not proof of a child sex trafficking ring, he says. Although if you looked at any of the Instagram photos that were tied to James Alefantis, either of his own putting on there or friends or acquaintances or co-workers of his, they were not just pictures of children in baskets. So we have an original video that we did that goes through all of those pictures for the most part, and that's it.